everything that they talk about, whether it's their past experience, whether it's some statistics, or whether it's their own personality, they're selling me on the idea that they're not good at sales. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Aulundrew back again. And one thing I wanted to talk about was, in the idea of business, I made this transition about 8 years ago to get into business, whether it's to learn new skills, to read books, to understand the concept of business and everything that involves that idea, right? And one of the very first things that I talked about in one of my previous videos was, how I got into sales, right? And that was a process in itself, because there's so much that you can learn about yourself. There's one thing that a lot of people, and I would say this, a lot of people have in common, right? It's like, man, I hate salespeople. I don't like sales. I cannot sell, and it's crazy. And for me, I love that. I love the idea of sales, man. It's fun. To me, it's fun, right? And when you think about it, right, when I ask people, right, like, hey, what about sales? Do you ever thought about doing that or learning that or getting a job in that? Because what I've learned in sales, right, that in this industry, in the industry of sales, you can really determine how much you're going to make, like how much you're worth. And all depends on sales, right? So whenever I ask people, what do you think about sales or blah, 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 they just say, oh, I'm not good at it. I'm not a great salesperson. It's just icky. It's all this negative, this context or a negative. Everybody has this negative view on sales, or I don't like car salesmen, or I don't think I can sell because I'm shy. I'm not good. I'm shy. I'm nervous. I can't speak. I'm not good at meeting new people. And it's funny, man. I remember one time it really dawned on me that every single time everyone says all those things about sales, I always look at them and I'm like, wow, right? And it got to the point where they actually convinced me, right, that they're not good at sales, or they didn't like sales. They're not good at sales, right? And at that moment, I finally realized, I was like, wow, you want me to tell you something? And they're like, what? I was like, you believe it or not, you're actually really good at sales. And you're like, what? He's like, because if you really think about all that, I don't like it, I'm scared, no one likes me, blah, 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 all these things that they kept saying, I'm nervous, I'm not good at public speaking or communication. I'm like, dude, it got to the point where I believed you, right? And that is the reason why that I believe you're good at sales, because you're selling me on the reason why you're not good at sales. Does that make sense? Everything that they talk about, whether it's their past experience, whether it's some statistics, or whether it's their own personality, they're selling me on the idea that they're not good at sales. At the end of the day, man, like, everyone is good at sales, right? If you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, or husband, and you're like, oh, I'm not good at sales. Well, guess what? You are, because you had to sell your other half on you. Oh, I'm not good at sales, but I have a job. Well, guess what? You are good at sales, because you sold yourself to your job. Oh, does that make sense? Oh my gosh. And those are some of those. I wanted to throw this out because everybody I came across and I told them that, they always had that like, oh my gosh, like I never thought of it that way. Well, if you feel the same way, or that idea, or what are your thoughts on what I'm just talking about? I want to keep this short, simple, and I just want to share that idea, that concept with you, that's usually what happens whenever I come across this. So, I'd love to hear your feedback on that. Comment below in the comments section, and if you haven't subscribe to my channel. I'm going to start to take a transition in what I'm going to be talking about the YouTube channel, but if anything, I'm still going to be talking about life success, but I want to also talk about business as well. So let's see how that's going to go. I want to thank you for being here. I'm excited. Wow. Aulundrew out. Peace.